Hi, welcome back for a special book talk on Ben Philippe's second novel, Charming as a Verb. I first want to remind everybody that Ben Philippe is the 2020 YALSA William C. Morris debut young adult author winner. And I was very excited to read his second book, and I am overjoyed because it is wonderful. And so the first book, for those of you who are interested, and I did talk about it in April, so I'm sure you all rushed out and read it. But the first book that he wrote, which won the award, is The Field Guide to the North American Teenager. And in his second book, it is also a contemporary novel, and takes place in New York City. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share it with you. Charming as a Verb by Ben Philippe. And as I mentioned, you can see from the cover, New York City. And it is told from the point of view of Henri, who is right here. Corinne, who also plays a very important role, and her dog Palm Tree. Do not ask me why Corinne chose to call her dog Palm Tree. This is one of the things I also love when authors just throw things out there and don't explain them, because then you can wonder later, why palm tree? Which I did throughout the book, and I'm still wondering, and I kind of love that. So, owners name their dogs interesting things, and their cats and other pets. So, who is Henri, and what is this book about? First, I'd like to say that the book jacket implies that this is basically a romantic comedy, and in many ways it is. But so if you're looking for that, you're going to get it. I would like to say, though, that I feel like this book defies labeling in that way, because it's a book really about relationships and coming of age and understanding who you are and where it is you want to go. I am not typically really a romantic comedy reader. I'll read it. But for me to really enjoy it, I have to have some definite depth to it. I am not satisfied with just some stereotypical characters. And I need to have something that really fleshes out who somebody is and what they're going through. And Charming as a Verb delivers. So why Charming as a Verb? Okay, it's an interesting title, and I hope Ben forgives me for going ahead and explaining it. But his mother says at one point that some children are charming as an adjective, but that he is charming as a verb, as somebody in action. And I feel like this describes him perfectly. Henri is a hustler, I guess, is one of the best ways to describe it. But people don't realize it. Okay, people don't realize that that smile that he gives, and he does the smile with a capital letter in the book with a little trademark next to it. That is something that he has worked on, and he has different smiles for different people for different occasions. And he's learned a lot of this from his Uncle Lionel, who is his father's younger brother by almost 20 years. And part of this is something that he has had to learn to do. So Henri is a senior in high school, and he is attending a very prestigious, very rich, and mostly white school in Manhattan. And as somebody who is not rich, he's poor, he's black, and he is the son of immigrants, you may wonder, how has he ended up in this Manhattan school, who has like wings like that are named, he calls it a very woke school. Like one of the wings I remember is named mindfulness. And I laugh at that because I've been trained in mindfulness, and it's not like something to joke about, but I'm just laughing that a school would have these wings that are sort of named after these very woke topics, right? The thing is that they want to meet their quota of showing that they are diverse. That's really what it comes down to. And so, of course, Henri says, I have the trifecta because I'm poor, black, and the son of immigrants. And that is why he is at this school. But he uses that in order to be able to reach his ultimate goal, which is he wants to go to Columbia. That is his dream school. It's as much his dream school as his father's, though. And that's one of the reasons I say this is a book also about expectations and relationships. Because sometimes those lines get blurred between what it is your parents or your family may want and what it is you may want. But Henry is smart. He is very brilliant. He is very driven. He calls it the hunger that the men in his family have to grab more, to get more, to pursue. His Uncle Lion, for example, may not always do the most savory things to get more. But his father is a person of great integrity. And he believes in working hard and using these stepping stones to get there. And so he is a super in a building, the building they work at, and they live in a basement apartment. They do not have much. But his stepping stone in coming to America was for his son to thrive and get a step upwards. Okay? So Henry has a lot of things working against him, but he also has a lot of things going for him. He starts his dog walking business, all right? And he works about 30 hours a week. Even taking breaks, like if he has a class break, he'll go walk dogs. He never stops, constantly moving. And I think that's important to note about his character. The other thing important to know about his character is, and I know you all know people like this, he's the kind of person that almost like walks into a room and it's like he glows. Like people are drawn to him because he has that charisma. And he puts on that smile, okay? It's not a real smile, though. He even comments at one point how he smiles at his mom, and it was genuine. It's one of the few genuine smiles he has left. Because he has become such a hustler, okay? And this is just who he is, this mask that comes on. And it's effortless in some ways for him to do this. Now, the only person he can't seem to hustle, okay, is Corinne. And it's a little bit surprising to him when her mother asked for an interview for him to come and walk this dog that her ex-husband bought for her daughter. Long story. Because, she's too busy. Her daughter's got a, heavy academic schedule, which Henry gets because they go to the same school. So he starts to walk the dog. And then Corinne hits him with a bombshell. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but she's figured out something about Henry, who's very close-mouthed. The only person who knows all of his secrets is Ming, his best friend, who you're going to love. I love Ming. And she blackmails him because her dream school is Princeton. And the letter of Rex that she's gotten so far says she's too intense. Let me tell you, she does define intense. So she'll just say what she's thinking right out loud. No filter. Like no filter, no sense of that person can hear you talking smack about them. And she doesn't even realize it's smack because she's just saying what she thinks. But she sees that Henry has the hustler down, right? So she wants an opportunity to be more liked in the sense of getting a better letter. Thus it begins. Now, during the course of all of this, okay, he gets to know Corinne a little bit better. And there's something about Corinne's authenticity that appeals to him. And I hazard the guess, for me at least, it's because there's something in her authenticity that Henry himself has lost. In his attempt to be able to get to that expectation of Columbia. Secondly, it's hard not to like Corinne because you have to love someone that puts it right out there. And she sees him. From the very beginning, she sees him for who he is. And in some ways, he's not real happy with what she sees. But we also have in this book a lot of things to do with relationships. Very much father and son relationships. And what does that mean? And the idea, too, of what he calls the hunger. And what it means to feel so driven. I can still very much remember how it felt as, especially a senior in high school. And I had a dream school. I did not have money to go to that dream school, though I was accepted. And that idea of feeling outclassed because of not having money. The idea too of feeling the expectations of others. Were they really yours? Were they not? Goodness knows I changed my majors because I didn't know what I really wanted. And there's a lot of things in this book that really reminded me a lot of what it felt like as a senior myself. But I also see this happening to students I work with too. This driven need, right, to push, push, push. And it's also this idea of making sure that you stay in connection with yourself. And so I joked about that idea of mindfulness as a wing in this school. But a lot of times we are not mindful, especially when we're in high school, of what it is we really want compared to what it is we're trying to do to please other people. So I love this book because of the relationships that it shares with other people, because of the glimpses that we get into another culture and what it means to be a child of immigrants growing up here in this country with those opportunities, and many times not being aware of what that means. If you are a child living here in America and your parents are discussing this is what it would be like, you don't realize the opportunities, how they might view their perceptions of you and your perceptions of them. And all of that comes to play in this book. It's really a beautiful examination of what we expect from each other and how we view each other, how the people who think they know Henri view him, and maybe the person we always look at in school and are like, oh my God, they have it all. Do they really? The ideas that we make based upon perceptions of things, or the beliefs that we draw from that aren't necessarily accurate. And Charming as a Verb is a really great illustration of that. I love the characters. I love the story. It is one that you don't want to end. You want to continue. You want to find out more. And Ben, I appreciate the beautiful characters you created in this, the story, and the very real feelings of what it means to be young, and to have that immense pressure. I like to say it goes away. It does. You get a better idea of what it feels like when you're older to find your own expectations. But it is always a hard feeling to be caught between two worlds, and also the world of what others expect from you and what you want for yourself. You will have plenty of things to laugh about in this book. Palm tree. Palm tree comes up with palm tree for a dog? But it's a fabulous book. And I love the tagline that he could charm anyone until now. So, all you charmers out there, and those of you who feel like you know all about the charmers, pick this up. It's a great read. Until then, I wish you good health and happy reading. Thank you.